Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to Looking Ahead, the series where I break down and analyse the meta, what's happening over Japan, and how will it impact Taiwan. Today, I'm talking all things Charizard and the rise of it in Surging Sparks format. It's doing incredibly well, the most dominant archetype right now in Japan, just looking at the City League results, and of course, a very impressive Mirror Match finals at Stuttgart this past weekend. So we're going to break down analysing both of these results to see exactly why Charizard is so great in the Surging Sparks format. Plus, we'll talk about a brand new archetype, Klawf Terapagos. Could this generally be a threat to the rest of the metagame overall, or is it generally just a ton of fun to play? Plus, a brand new card as well, which could be very problematic for Charizard, which Japan gets in just a few days' time. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So, that brand new card I'm talking about is Regigigas, and there's a couple of reasons why this is going to be such a problematic card for Charizard. Number one, it's a colorless Pokemon, and the attack also requires colorless energies as well, so making it a very splashable attacker. And the attack does 100 damage. But what makes it even scarier is the additional effect. It does 230 more damage if the opponent's active Pokemon is a Terra Pokemon. Yes, you heard that right. For 4 colorless energies, this single price Pokemon could do 330 damage, instantly one-hit KOing Charizard and nearly every single other Terra Pokemon in the format. Think of the likes of Terapagos, think of the likes of Dragapult and Ogerpon. This Regigigas instantly one-hit KOs all of them straight away. And again, this is a colorless Pokemon, so any deck can take advantage of this one. First of all, I think the likes of Lugia, they have a ton of their colorless energies which can be chucked around there, which don't really rely on limiting any of their damage output. And also, this can be a really good way to them to one-hit KO Charizard. It can also be used in the likes of the additional Regigigas and the Reggie's deck, but also Chien-Pao. I know those decks aren't as relevant, but these are again some single price attacking options which can be really scary. And my personal favorite is just chuck it in Charizard because one Inferno Ray and Edge Attachment, one hit KOs a Charizard, and all of a sudden they have to either bot around it or they have to instantly take a single price KO. Otherwise, a Regigigas can go again and KO another Charizard. Or if it does get KO'd, you can use the likes of a Radiant Charizard as well to KO the likes of a Lumineon or Rotom on the bench. Again, this is a very, very fun, very scary archetype. Of course, it's very much a reminiscent of the likes of the Drapion V against the likes of the Mew VMAX, but again, a little bit more difficult as you have to have the weight to energy accelerated, but of how fast and aggressive this format really is right now with energy acceleration, there's absolutely no issue with this one. And I think this is a very good way to try and keep Charizard in check. So right now, let's actually break down the metagame to see exactly why Charizard is so good. So if we look at this past week's City League result in Japan, we can see Charizard is nearly 20% of the metagame, which is an absolute huge number. We haven't seen a number like that in a very long time. Regigigas has always been hovering at like 16%, but Charizard's doing so well. There's a ton of HP, and the format definitely has evolved around this one. Think of the likes of Miraidon did incredibly well, but we're actually seeing it disappear completely. And we're still seeing Raging Bolt and Regidrago still be up there, be about 10%. Gholdengo as well is one of the best decks right now in Japan, because it is still very, very versatile. My good friend Justin played a really interesting build of Gholdengo at the Stuttgart Cup, which played 4 copies of Klefki, which I really, really like as a way to slow down the opponent, plus also just generally a good way to lock out most of the opponent's strategy. So generally, looking at this metagame here, Charizard's looking incredibly good in this one. If we think about it going to likes of Raging Bolt, as long as they can potentially have a single prize board state, you're in a really good commanding spot against Raging Bolt. As also they have to take a single prize KO. They might potentially have to use a Briar in the late sort of turn with an Ogerpon. But again, you can do pretty well into that sort of matchup. But some other decks which I think is really good going into Charizard, which I think Charizard has a great matchup against, is likes of Gholdengo and likes of Terapagos as well. The reason why I say this is because Gholdengo needs 7 energies to KO Charizard, and again, Charizard can take full advantage against Gholdengo by having likes of Dustin Ward to take multiple prize cards from there if they have a single prize board state. And likes of a Klawf Terapagos, obviously Terapagos can do now 280 damage with the likes of additional poison effector, and Klawf can obviously do 240 damage. So again, a huge amount of damage output, but that's not one hit KO in Charizard. Even with the poison effect, like staying in effect, they have to KO something and then promote the likes of the Petron to actually one hit KO over Charizard. So again, this is multiple ways why Charizard has been such a good pick right now. Now there are some very scary picks on this list as well, which Charizard can really struggle with, like some block lags. Charizard is kind of going away from the Prime Catcher and definitely seeing more of the unfair stamp. So more of that later about why I think that is the best ace spec right now for Charizard. So again, that can be very, very scary. You do play the Fortune, of course, and do play the likes of the Breath of Charizard and potentially sometimes a Power Pad. So you do have quite a few switching outs, but again, that's one of your worst matchups. And again, think about likes of Pikachu. Pikachu could be very, very scary. There's some one-hit KO, and obviously Lost Box is the best abuser of that way. But again, you can go around this one by playing the likes of Dusclops and Dusknoir to kind of bypass the very scary Pikachu. So again, just looking at this metagame here, we're seeing how powerful Charizard really is into this format. They can have Charizard is so great because they can now have a single prize board state. People aren't really playing the Pressure Trolley as much as I really thought they would do, and that's why I think Unfair Stamp is definitely one of the strongest picks right now for Charizard. So I think not having a two prize liability on the board like a Luminion, like a Rotom very early on, some decks can really struggle against this one, like Raging Bolt, for example. And if we just see looking at the top 4 results at the City Leagues this past weekend, we can see Charizard is nearly 25% of all top 4 results. So again, Charizard is doing incredibly well. The format is right now pretty much guaranteed. Very much the finalist from Stuttgart is pretty much, I would say, a carbon guaranteed best way to play Charizard right now. But again, if we look at the rest of the metagame, we can see Charizard has great things for this one. Look at the A tier or the tier 2, the Regigigas, the Gardevoir, the Dragapult. Dragapult, yes, can be a little bit of a struggle at times, but with Charizard can get these huge one, it can be very, very scary, and that generally goes really well into like the Dragapult. And if we look at the tier 3 sort of archetypes, Lugia, Raging Bolt, Gholdengo, Cerulege, Rory Moon, so it's also Ancient Box. I do think that some of these can cause some problems like Cerulege and Rory Moon, but again, they take quite a while for them to actually get, Ancient Box, they take quite a while to get these big one-hit KOs straight away. And Lugia, of course, you can kind of like go around this one. Yes, can be scared of Minchino, but of course you have the likes of the Dusknoir to go around, the likes of Legacy Energy. So yeah, I generally think that we are seeing a really good format right now for Charizard. And if we now again look at the analyzing the day one meta share at Stuttgart, we can see it was 8%. It's been quite a while since we've seen Charizard. Gone over day to the EUIC where it was only 20% of the metagame, but Charizard is just such a great pick right now for the format. Because if we just look again what it is as well, I think it has a great Miraidon matchup. It's a great regular Terapagos matchup because they can't get that big one-hit KO. Terapagos has to rely on likes of a Dusknoir, Briar, potentially even having the Gusting around to actually get the big one-hit KOs. But Charizard can just instant one-hit KO nearly every single thing in the format. We have seen likes of Lost Box again do really, really well. But again, Charizard can answer this one. They have a single price attacking option. Some ones are playing the Terapagos sort of build, so you have Entei as well as another great attacking option. But again, if we see likes of Regidrago and Raging Bolt, you have a great match for this one if you preserve the single price board state on your first turn. If you go second again, if you keep that single price board state, which can be quite difficult as you really do rely on Rotom to help your setup, I think you're in a much more commanding sort of spot. And of course, if you want to know a bit more about Charizard, of course I did a video about it just before Worlds. So now let's actually look at some Charizard lists. Can I see exactly why Charizard is actually a really good pick right now? So this is the winning list here, and it is very straightforward to how we've seen most things before. Nothing really sort of stand out here. The big one you generally could say is unfair stamp. Lots of people will be talking that hand disruption isn't as scary as it once was. People play lots of Serendipity, the Bibarel and Pidgeot, some of these even Knockdown. So there are multiple ways to actually like keep that on board sort of regular preserving things. So that's why unfair stamp kind of got phased out from Charizard. People are going more of the Precious Trolley, or potentially even the Prime Catcher, currently guaranteeing like gusting effect, or potentially preserving your board state by having a really great turn sort of one. So that's generally why I think people have gone to this one. But the more I've seen the format kind of like go on, you'd be very fast, very aggressive decks like Regidrago, Raging Bolt. All of a sudden, disruption the hand set, potentially limiting them from getting NGs. This makes around first time one of the best ways to play right now. We've seen sort of the 2-1-1. That's not again very much straightforward. This is the incredibly straightforward Charizard. 5 fire NGs again. A little bit low, but we then have seen this kind of work a lot more. People playing 5 fire energies, potentially mist energy to help protect you against Roaring Moon, or Dragapult for spreading some damage counters, or potentially even having a double turbo as well. So you can potentially attack with Charizard, or even the Radiant Charizard much earlier on, or effectively a Pidgeot EX. But what's very interesting is the second place Stuttgart list. Some of it is a little bit very much changed. One of the more particular things is that Charmeleon with 100 HP now. Playing this one here because it actually protects the likes of the Radiant Greninja. So it can't get the big one-hit KO on this one, take out one of your Charmeleons. So I think that is very good. It protects it. Plays a 1-1 split of the Pidgeys. Now, of course, that Call for Family one is very, very good because it can get out any of your basic Pokemon you require. But having 50 HP makes it very weak to likes of a Dusclops. So that's kind of why people kind of phase away from this one. But most people that play Dusknoir play a 202 line of Dusknoir, and the only deck which really plays Dusclops is likes of Charizard and potentially even Terapagos at best. Another interesting card about this one, it does play the Power Pad, but it's really good because it can help preserve and keep utilizing any of your support against, because you are only playing 3 copies of Arvin, which is very unusual. You'd like to play the 4/4 if you can. And of course, it does play 2 copies of Pokestop. This is so interesting and so unique. The reason why I think this could be very good, you play a ton of item cards, so you can get lots of your ball searching, potentially even draw into your rare candy, and not rely on potentially searching for a quick search, or wasting your Forest Hill Stone to get one of these key cards. Could be really strong. That's why I think Power Pad is really in here, but you don't really play that much recovery cards. If you hit 3 energy cards and you don't hit Super Rod, all of a sudden Charizard's limited to 2, potentially even 1. Somebody even 1 energy could be very, very weak for Charizard. So that's one of the things I find interesting, because there's so many decks right now which do play really rely on Pokestop. Well, obviously we saw the likes of the Palkia Dusknoir, but that's kind of really phased out the format right now. But Raging Bolt does play Pokestop, and that's nearly always going to be nearly 10 to 50% of the metagame sometimes, so you can always rely on it there. But I think this is a very fast, very turbo aggressive build. I definitely would like more of the night stretches on this one to actually get back any of these key sort of pieces, which could be a much, much stronger pick. So again, just looking at these Charizard, we're seeing Unfair Stamp be utilized most of it, and you could actually see most of this are pretty much there. But one of the lists as well in Japan, which is really interesting, is looking at how Prime Catch is really utilized from Charizard. It does play a 3-1-2 line of Charizard. Again, we've kind of seen this be the most played. But what's interesting, it plays a 2-1-2 line of Dusknoir. Now, reason why I think having this is a little bit too greedy is I like having Dusknoir, but it's very, very weak to really come to utilize it, especially if you're not playing like the Night Stretcher. So that's one of the things I would instantly kind of like cut around this one. Plus, also does play the 6 energies, which is again something which I really, really like, and the Prime Catch as well. Well, obviously, you have a ton of gusting as well. So this sort of version of Charizard, I wouldn't say is as strong as before. Yes, of course, it's a City League result, and we compared it to a regional sort of winning sort of archetype. So again, a little bit different as well, but that's not the only way to play Charizard. One of the ones that's done incredible is the one with Terapagos. It's an incredibly fun archetype. We saw it kind of like pop up a bit at LAIC. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I think this is an incredibly fun deck. And you can see here that it's got a lot of really good things going for this one. Let's play the classic 202 line of Charizard, so a little bit thinner than most of the ones, but you do play the likes of a 2 Terapagos, a 101 line of Pidgeot, a 101 line of Dusknoir, a 3-3 Noctowl, 1 Entei, 2 copies of the Fan Rotom. So there's a ton going on right now. And you might go, how on earth does this all work together? But you do play a lot of really good searching cards. If you look at sort of your main item cards, they are really trying to get the board set up. The Buddy Buddy Puffin, the Nest Balls, the Ultra Ball, the Terra Orb, so you can actually get your Charizard as well as your Terapagos. You can get nearly any single one of your training cards by having a 3 line of Noctowl. You also have some great energy acceleration with like Mela, and of course Super Roll as well to really utilize them back in. It makes so that Terapagos can actually hit 240 damage, which is again really, really strong, or Charizard can clear up in the late sort of start game. I think this is a really interesting build about how Charizard really started being adapting to the metagame. If we look at see what can make this deck really good, well, it can obviously go against likes of Regigigas. Also now have 2 Pokemon and get these big one-hit KOs and not really rely on other sort of scariest of archetypes. It can really go in like the Gholdengo. It can go well into so many different archetypes as well. And it can be incredibly strong in sort of the mid to late game, or potentially even turn 1 if you get those of your energies out as well, like the Mela. Sorry, Mela is only if it's probably knocked out. So I do think there's a lot of good things going for this sort of build of Charizard. We've kind of seen it sort of initiative and build up, but I think right now in the metagame, this and the winning Stuttgart list is potentially going to be your best sort of pick. If you want to play Charizard, if you want a good deck to kind of go into the metagame, I wouldn't really change an absolute thing about this deck right now. I think it's really great into decks like Miraidon and Terapagos. I think you can struggle against some other decks as well. Sometimes Raging Bolt can be a very sort of poor matchup. Sometimes, like again, similar like to Regigigas, but we're seeing the numbers kind of like dwindle just a little bit. And Charizard did incredibly well right now. So generally, right now, I think Charizard is the play right now. So let's talk about my other fun deck right now, the Klawf Terapagos, which kind of popped up in Sacramento. And as I was away, I didn't really notice it too much until I turned on Stuttgart Regionals this past weekend and thought, whoa, this deck is everywhere, and it is a ton of fun. So the idea of this one is basically it's a Klawf deck, but really utilizes likes of Terapagos as well. So obviously Klawf does that amazing sort of thing where if you've got the Radiant Sneeze out and play the Binding Mochi and everything like that, you can do 240 damage, which is really, really scary from a single price Pokemon. Get these big one-hit kills. Here in any sort of key sort of pieces around that. Think about the likes of the Regidrago, the Luminion, the Terapagos. Getting these big one-hit KOs is really strong. But also Terapagos is really good time to do that good cleanups of big one-hit KOs again. But by having a Binding Mochi attached to Terapagos, and you have a full bench, and with the Radiant Sneezer out in play, you're going to be effectively doing additional 60 more damage. So you might go, oh, that's 300 damage. But of course, with Double Turbo, you're reducing it by 20. 280 damage is still very, very impressive. And this even plays one of the brand new cards from Prismatic Evolutions, because they get it a little bit in the starter set, the Black Belt, which does additional more damage to your Pokemon's EXs. So again, this Terapagos can now get these big one-hit KOs on nearly every single thing in the format, which is incredibly terrifying to think about right now. Terapagos doing over 300 damage. Really, really strong. I think this is definitely the best way to play Terapagos right now. Also, I love about the Petron as well. You can get the Donkey Effector. You have the if you have the Here's your Underdepth and a Terra Pokemon in play, i.e. your Terapagos, you can use the Brilliant Rescuer, the Precious Trolley, and can pretty much fill up your entire board state. Your Angaroo to get your tool cards potentially you need to get. Your Lumina as well to get your supporters money. Blown Earth Luna, chuck the Binding Mochi, 280 damage. This is so scary of an archetype right now. And I think this is just going to get even stronger, as we see from like the Black Belt. Yes, I know it is a single supporter card, but you can constantly find it and reutilize it. That's why you play 2 copies of Lumineon. And you have free retreat overall with that Latias. So you don't need to rely on potentially requiring to retreat these very high HP, high demanding Pokemon. So I think this is a very good sort of deck right now. It's fast, it's aggressive, it can do over 240 damage on your first if you go second. So again, really, really terrifying archetype right now in the format game. It is fast, it's aggressive, and a single prize attacking option. So definitely something to be really considerate. Another deck which I also love to talk about is Gholdengo. Obviously, we've seen it do incredibly well. It's had back-to-back-to-back top 8 placements over in the regional championships. And it obviously got stronger by one specific card. My favorite Pokemon of all time, Togekiss. A deck with card with lots of people went, nah, it's honestly only played, to actually being like, this is amazing in Gholdengo. And of course, Gholdengo is going to do very well in the channel because it's basically, everyone used to call it, oh, it's the poor man's Shenpao, but right now it is the Shenpao to play right now. It is very fast, very aggressive, and potentially the best card to play right now, best sort of way of these sort of energy acceleration play right now. But what makes it interesting, it does play a 101 line of Dusknoir and a 101 line of Togekiss with only 2 copies of Rare Candy. So you can only utilize these one at a time. What makes Dusknoir so great is because you potentially use that one to get additional prize cards straight away. Or potentially you obviously can choose a flip coin with Togekiss or potentially take additional prize card that way. Obviously it makes a great use of Cypher Maniac's code breaking. Try and using that one to search for any 2 cards and then draw straight into them with likes of Gholdengo. Obviously, you play the Energy Search Pro to get any of your energy, pretty much one of every energy cards, and pretty much you can constantly utilize them again after again after again for likes of Night Stretcher and Superior Energy Retrieval and regular Energy Retrieval. Gholdengo is just so far is pretty much the perfect archetype right now. It is really good because it has an inbuilt draw factor and it has an incredible, huge, unlimited damage output. Yes, you do need 7 energies to KO Charizard, which can be a little bit difficult. That is basically 2 energy, superior energy retrievals you need to have, with only 1 energy to spare, which obviously will be energy attachment for turn. So again, something to really consider about. But right now, Togekiss makes Gholdengo incredibly strong. So yeah, this is pretty much where I think Gholdengo is going to do. I think those top 3 archetypes are one of the most fun decks to play right now in the format, and potentially it's making Charizard be one of the best right now to play in the 30 Sparks format. So, will the success of Charizard really continue? We are very much in the early doors of the Surgery Sparks format guide, but we're about to get the prismatic evolutions in Japan on Friday, so we're going to see the format change a little bit. Can Charizard stay up the top? Is Klawf now a threat? From going from a meme deck to generally being a highly considered archetype, and I think it had a 55% conversion rate at Stuttgart, so Klawf did incredibly well at Stuttgart regionals. We've seen it do really well, and kind of like seeing that success can be brought over in Japan. And so it's generally something I really hope really continues. And I generally think Terapagos is its best partner right now. And will Prismatic Evolutions what will it actually bring to the format camp? Will we see this fun, huge Eevee box? Will we see Regigigas kind of be chucked to nearly every single archetype? Or a rise of Shenpao because it can really utilize Regigigas as well? Or potentially even Lugia as well? Could it actually jump up a little bit more in popularity? So, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below, what do you think Charizard right now is in the format game? I think personally right now, it's in a great spot right now. It has a great match against pretty much the entire board, and decks which you really struggle against aren't really played as much. So, I think Charizard is definitely the one to watch in the Surgery Sparks format. So, without further ado, I'll bring this video to a close, and I'll see you guys in a few days' time for another video. Bye for now.